Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about something today. And yes, I'm going to put it in the title. Jason Blaha is proof that chin-ups and rows will not build your biceps for most people. Now, when I make that statement, it's funny because, that's a criticism people have thrown at me for many, many years. Because for a long time, I did powerlifting, promoted strength training. And in some cases, there were periods of time where I did training minimalism, even did Bulgarian training, right? And in a lot of that, I did weighted pull-ups, weighted chin-ups, got really strong at rows, all these things. But I oftentimes went years at a time without doing any curls. Okay, I neglected curls. Guess what? Accordingly, my biceps lag. And I know people are looking now, they're like, well, they're lagging a little, but it's not super bad. Okay, but I've been doing a lot of curls for well over a year now. So do you guys see the kind of the point? If anything, I'm evidence that, look, I'm still playing catch up. I've been doing tons of curls trying to get them caught up, and it's taking years to get it caught up to the muscle I built doing all this other stuff, right? All right, getting it caught up to things like my back, my legs, there's still quite a bit of ways to go. I probably need at least another inch on my arms, if not more, to really be proportionate in regards to that. So I am proof of that. And when people say, well, how strong did you get on that stuff? Well, how about chins? You guys remember at one time years ago, I was doing no curls at all. And I did like 100-pound weighted chins. I think the best I got up to was while weighing like 220 or 230. I did 110-pound weighted chin up from a dead hang. Okay? That's pretty respectable chin-up strength, and that's underhand grip chin-up. Keeping in mind, that is well over 300 total pounds. Didn't grow my biceps. There were times when I was doing pretty strict rows off the floor. I was doing sets of 10 with 250 pounds. Off the floor, right? Doing pretty much pen lay rows. Guess what? My biceps didn't really grow much. You see where we're going with this? Didn't work, so accordingly, now these days, my training has to be slightly biased in the other direction. All right, it has to be biased in the other direction. I'm having to do lots of curls. I'm at a point now to where, not counting any band work, I think the week this footage came from, I did 18 sets of curls. That's not counting my pull-ups. It's not counting my rows. That's just my direct bicep work. All right, like what you saw there, I ended up doing 18 sets. And the strength isn't proportionate unless I do cheat curls. I can cheat curl a lot of weight. You guys will see me do work sets with like 185. But when it comes to the strict stuff, look at the difference. When I go super strict, sets of 10 are actually pretty hard, even with 75 pounds. That's only 75 pounds. If we go real strict, okay? So do we see the problem here? The problem is, biceps are lagging. And I'm having to do curls now, and they've come up. They've come up considerably. But they're still not where they need to be. They're still nowhere near where they need to be. And to some extent, maybe even triceps, but it's not the whole triceps. The long head definitely lags. Because I didn't do enough of the extensions that work at putting it into a stretch position. So now I'm having to do more and more stretch position type extensions, pullovers, things like that, getting the arms caught up. So I think, what we have to be honest about here, and again, I am the perfect example. Unless you are very genetically gifted or you're doing site enhancements or stuff, if you want a muscle to be truly maximally developed, you can't always rely just on the big movements to do it, okay? And this is something I realized years ago and started playing catch up on. I said, okay, when I really started caring a lot about biceps and things, because it also wasn't really a priority for me, was it? It was never a huge priority. It's become more and more. And now, I'm going at it with a fair amount of fervor. All right, we're going at it, with quite a bit of intensity, volume, and trying to play catch up. But then we run into the issue of not overtraining them, right? Fortunately, because those muscles are still relatively weak and I'm doing a lot of smaller movements, hasn't been a big issue. But I think the take home that I would say to people on any strength training program, this is one of the reasons I always say, like I include the barbell curl into like my big 5 or big 6, right? When I discuss those things, when I say, hey, what are the movements that we need right? The movements that we need. What invariably happens? What do I always say? I always tell guys we need to do some barbell curls, like a straight bar curl. I don't even tell them easy bar curls or any of that. I'm like, you need to do a straight up barbell curl with a straight bar. Okay? And the reason is because otherwise you're risking lagging biceps. And a lot of guys are like, well, right now I only care about strength. It's like, you can say that, but what happens when one day you get to a point where you go, oh man, I really do care about my biceps. And then you're 5 or 10 or whatever years behind. Okay, it puts you into a bit of a situation, doesn't it? And I think that we have to be honest with ourselves about that. So this is one of the reasons I tell guys, just get in and do some barbell curls. Just start doing them from day one. And it's funny because normally we wouldn't need to say that. Because for generations, guys have always obsessed over their arms. And so then the scale of what's considered big arms relative to a torso is disproportionate because we have so many guys who are arm obsessed. Okay? But that's now changed kind of the benchmark. And so I would say, you know, it is worth getting in and doing some curls and getting really good, even if it's just something like a single type of curl, like a straight bar curl. Get in and push it, train it hard. Because that is going to be a muscle that with a lot of your strength training is going to potentially end up lagging. It's going to potentially be a weak link in your physique. And honestly, it could in theory be a weak link in your strength. You know, a lot of guys are like, well, if I only cared about powerlifting, well, do you only really care about powerlifting? What happens if you branch over into some other stuff, some more functional things, some strongman, some arm wrestling or whatever, and you've neglected all of that? It's going to put you in a bad situation. It puts you in a bad situation because those things are necessary for some of those sports. Okay, having some biceps will help you get some exercises into position. Also create better stability for your elbow joint for your bench pressing, especially if you're a really wide grip bench presser. Okay, the wider you bench, the more that bicep becomes a stabilizer. Plenty of data showing that. So I would say to guys, it would behoove you to go ahead and just start training your biceps. And again, it's funny because this is a topic that we almost shouldn't need to address, other than there's a whole niche of people who have done the opposite. And I was one of those people, unfortunately, and look at the price. Right? Years and years of them neglecting the biceps, not training them or training them as hard or consistently as they need to. It left me imbalanced. And so now it's coming through playing catch up. And no, my back is massive. Right? My back is big. The back work and the lat work didn't carry over to the degree that a lot of us would like it to. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.